Like the first time I did the Romberg test, I was in bed for 2 days.
So explain what the Romberg test is. Just so
okay, the Romberg test, if people are going to try this on their own, either have someone there to spot them, to catch them when they fall. Notice I said catch them when they fall. Okay, or find a corner in your house where you can leave 2 inches off each of your shoulders from the walls, and then just sort of back your way in there, and you cross 1 foot over the other, cross your arms over cross your chest, hands flat on opposite shoulders, close your eyes, tilt your head back, and count out loud to 30. Most people who have been poisoned by Mefloquine can't get past 3. Most people. Some people can get up to about 12 or 14. And I've actually seen 1 or 2 that have actually counted to 30, but they've, when they're done, they were still dizzy and disorientated.
So where did you learn this test?
I've actually, there's a guy down the States by the name of Commander Bill Manofsky, retired. He's doing the same thing I am. I'm not doing the political fight like John is. John's leading the political fight here in Canada. I'm doing more the outreach, and Bill is doing the outreach down the States. And me and him, he actually tracked me down. He goes, I've been seeing you on the news quite a bit, and this, that, and the other thing. I think we need to talk. And he actually took me under his wing, and a lot of the knowledge I have now is came from Bill, and talking to a few of the people that he put me in connection with, you know, for a few experts and stuff for this stuff. And it's like he's my mentor, actually. And this is where the bulk of my knowledge has come from, is from Bill.
Now, the United States is farther ahead than we are in fighting this.
How do you put it? The Americans are ahead of us. They sort of acknowledge it. They are not actively fighting it like the Canadian government is. Because, you know, because I'll tell you right now, one of the most odious things that the government has done with regards to Mefloquine is allow the Surgeon General to produce a report that was biased against Mefloquine poisoning. Because what they did by doing that is basically, because Veterans Affairs is not allowed to contest any published reports by a government agency. So that Surgeon General report stated there's no conclusive evidence that Mefloquine causes permanent harm. So that when an individual goes to Veterans Affairs, goes, I think I've been poisoned by Mefloquine, I need help. What then happens is Veterans Affairs will refer back to the Surgeon General's report, and they go, well, you can't be, because there's no evidence that, you know. So this is the basis of denying claims. And
so I don't believe that he was allowed to make that. I believe he was directed to make it.
Well, actually, what I suspect happened is that basically the Justice Department has written that report.
Yeah, I suspect as well.
They've edited it. They've written it in such a way that it absolves the government of any liability. So. Yeah.
So what I find really, really interesting is the fact that even within that report, the whole reason they can make the statements they make by saying there's no evidence is that they never allowed any evidence to be brought into testimony. So the only reason they can
No, they had the evidence. They had the testimony of Dr. Revington Nevin and Dr. Richie Elspeth.
I thought they shut it down before that.
No, they had all that testimony on record. They chose to cherry pick the reports to support their view that there is no conclusive evidence. Like, for example, how could they disregard the American FDA placing a black box warning on Mefloquine, stating that it does cause permanent neuropsychiatric issues? How could they disregard the case studies produced by Walter Reed Army Medical Research Institute, the agency that developed Mefloquine, that shows that Mefloquine causes permanent, like it's like they cherry picked, you know, they only took the drug company produced reports or funded reports.
We should make it clear when we are talking about we are talking about government,
the Surgeon General,
Health Canada, right? Even the Somali Inquiry Commission,
and the government, basically. But even if you look at the Canadian, the new Canadian monogram, like the Surgeon General's report is contrary to
this drives me nuts.
The monogram.
This drives me nuts. It's a drug of last resort for the military, which means if you can't take any other drug, then they will give you this drug, and if you react to it, then you go home. Yet this drug is still being prescribed daily, right?
Yep.
For people going on vacation, right? Those people are having the same symptoms that we have. They're not being diagnosed so much with post-traumatic stress as they are with other mental illnesses. But they are being diagnosed with other mental illnesses, right? Instead of anyone looking at the actual drug, because none of these doctors seem to make the connection between Mefloquine and its brand names or the history behind it.
Okay, because what's actually what's going on with the civilians is there's two types of injuries associated with the civilian population. The first one is the people that have the severe reactions while they're on it. And usually these people end up in psych wards or locked down in hospitals, okay? And I'm thinking of one individual in particular, and because of where they were located, what was going on with them wasn't wasn't associated with the Mefloquine. It wasn't until the individual got back and someone from their family reached out to me and I explained what Mefloquine is and how to tell if someone's had an adverse reaction to it and all that, that they made the connection. And that person has now made proper health choices that have mitigated the long-term side effects. You know, they're not on the high-dose pharmaceuticals anymore, and they're actually regaining their life. And then there's a second, and this seems to be more of a pattern with the civilians, because what happens is where usually when civilians are on take this drug, they're in very benign environments where they got access to lots of water. You know, they're able to sleep. Their bodies are functioning more efficiently than, say, someone that's in a desert on 2 liters of water a day and, you know, doing physical military operations that highly stress the body. You know, so the Army guy is going to have a stronger immediate reaction, whereas the civilian, they're just going to have a little bit of the mild dreams, maybe a little bit of the anxiety and stuff. A lot of where we're finding the civilians' injuries are manifesting is when they coming off the drug. They're actually having withdrawals and stuff from the Mefloquine, which is resulting them being hospitalized. And because it's, you know, up to 3 months after they got back from their trip, you know, that is not being attributed to the Mefloquine use. They're having a psychiatric break from reality. And okay, well, here's some antidepressants, here's some antipsychotics, you know,